So just a very quick overview on evaluating programs and the readings from last week. And I'm not gonna cover everything, I'm just gonna cover the most important points. So what is program evaluation? Program evaluation is critical to developing evidence-based practice and reporting to stakeholders, board members, and funders. And program evaluation can be either quantitative or qualitative, so you can use either method depending on what type of evaluation it is. So logic models, I did offer an extra credit opportunity last week on logic models. Logic models are very important. When I was an MSW student, because my focus was macro practice, I took a class on the focus is specifically on program development and evaluation. And logic models are essential because they help you to understand one, what's the theory behind a program and what is the program hoping to accomplish. So let me go here. Oh. So inputs are all of the resources available. So what are the resources that you will be using for the program? And this includes money and human resources. Activities, so with these resources, what are you going to provide? And this includes, like for example, like what intervention are you delivering? What type of, or how many sessions? I'm sorry, this is just a description of the activities, and this includes, like, for example, well, I will be providing, screening sessions, I will be providing educational interventions, and I will be making referrals. So those are the activities, and the outputs, that's when you actually have a number of, like, for example, how many sessions will you be delivering with a number of inputs, like how many orientation sessions, how many participants were you serving. So a lot of times people think the outputs are outcomes, but they're not. Outputs are simply, again, a description of like the number of participants that you're serving, the number of sessions that you're delivering, or workshops. And outcomes are actually the change that you are seeing in your clients. And these are the short-term outcomes, are the immediate outcomes. So for example, if you are delivering a workshop, you are increasing people's knowledge. So that would be a short-term outcome, but it doesn't mean that they're gonna be changing their behavior right away. So they're learning new strategies, they're learning new information, but the medium-term outcomes, that's when you may start to see some change in behavior. So in this case, your clients may be using the strategies or the information that you gave them. They may be using it to make a change in their lives. And the long-term outcome, that's an outcome in the long run. So how will your intervention make a change, for example, in your community in the long run? Will the number of homelessness be decreasing in the long run? Maybe you won't see it immediately. With also substance abuse, will you see a decrease in the population in your community with substance abuse problems? So that's like the very like long-term impact that you're expecting. So the reason why we conduct program evaluation is to mainly, improve the quality of the program and also test theoretical models to determine the need, also the effectiveness of the program, and also for accountability purposes. Again, because a lot of the programs are funded through different sources. So that's also a way to keep different agencies accountable. So there are different types of program evaluations that I will be going over. One of them is needs assessment. So the needs assessment, it's very important when you are going to develop a new program, because you want to learn if there's a need for your program, if people will actually be using it if you develop a program. So we did a needs assessment, again, when I was doing work in Indiana, to learn about the educational needs of immigrant families. So, from there we learned that immigrant families at that time in Northern Indiana needed support in completing college applications. They needed support in learning about financial aid and scholarships, and they needed support in walking them step by step and filling those documents out. And they also needed general information about how the educational system in the US worked. So through that needs assessment, I'm sorry, let me drink some water. So through that needs assessment, we learned about the needs and how our program could address some of those needs. Informative, as the word indicates, formative is a type of evaluation that involves collecting data about the program throughout the program to provide feedback back to administrators on the program. So this feedback or data will be used to improve or strengthen the implementation of the program. So this type of evaluations will normally be conducted early or mid-period of a program implementation. An outcome evaluation is basically explanatory, and it answers that the program achieved the intended outcomes. So for example, as I talked about the logic model. So the logic model has different proposed outcomes, short-term, mid-term, and long-term. So these type of outcome evaluations tell us whether those outcomes that we propose, whether they were achieved or not. So for example, the type of therapy that we provide to children or adolescents, that does show significant improvement or not. So I would say that with the formative, it would be useful to use the formative, the previous one that I discussed. It would be useful to use also qualitative. I mean, you can also use quantitative, but also a combination of qualitative to learn about what's working and what's not working and how we can make it better. And in this one, again, it's more explanatory if the interventions were successful or not. So again, you can still use a combination, but quantitative research would be needed to really understand whether the intervention was successful. Because through this, we will be learning whether or not the services were successful or not, and whether we want to continue to offer those services to our clients. So I know that that was very